Hi guys, good afternoon and good evening wherever you're watching me from. Um, it's quite a while that I came on live. Um, Today we'll be discussing about, we'll be looking into the Palestinian and Israel. There has been an attack in Israel by the jihadist Palestinian for the past 5 to 6 days. Um, it has been like a state of emergency in Israel where you see the Palestinians randomly goes to a particular place they choose, and they shoot and killed innocent uh, Jewish, and not only the Jewish, they kill also the black, whosoever they open fire, and also they kill foreigners. Ukrainian, Russian were among the people that was among the victim. And the black, we don't know where he come from, but they say the blacks also were a victim. And right here today, I'm going to show you the videos of what happened in Israel for the past days. It has been hectic. And the street is kind of almost quiet, not really quiet. The people are going to their normal work, but people have to be careful. Um, and I'm going to go deep today and tell you more stories about Israel attack and the Palestinian and the Israel. If you are not in this country, you don't have any story to tell. Trust me, if you are not in Israel, you got no story to tell about the Israel, who the Israels really are. If you are not in this country, who are you to judge anybody? If you are not in this country, you can also not judge the Palestinian. Until you are here in this country, you will know what the Palestinian can do and what the Palestinian cannot do. And when you hear the Palestinian attacking Israel, you would think that all the Palestinians are on the same page with the jihadists um, in Palestine. But today I'm going to tell you a story, and I'm going to start by telling you how did the Israel arrive to this stage. Um, you guys all know in 19 during the after the World War, you all know that during the World War, Adolf Hitler in Germany. How many of you remember the Holocaust? I'm going to tell you the story how Israel arrived here. I want to tell you the story that you don't, majority of you don't know about Israel and Palestinian, and I'm going to take it cool. Maybe it's going to take me like 30 minutes or 1 hour. I'm going to show you videos of the attack in Israel, few days, and the part of few victims. I have their video here. Um, it saddened my heart to say this story. Um, you cannot talk about Israel without talking about the Bible. Yes, when you are talking about the Jewish and the Israelites, we all read that history that in the Bible. Israel left. Israel are one of the um, Israels are one of the most traveled people in the world. Whether you like it or not, I've done that. I've done that research. Israel are one of the most traveled people in the world back in the days. You know, this place is a desert. You all know. By the time some centuries back, the Israelites begin to move out of Israel for greener pastures. They begin to move to Europe. Not only in Europe, some of the Israelites they moved to Egypt. Some of them moved to this Arab nation. As I speak to you now, there are Jewish still in some of the Arab states now, but some of them have come back home, and I'm going to explain to you. In 19 in after the World War, the Israel has passed through a lot in Europe where they were killed in the Holocaust with nothing. I mean, absolutely. If somebody tells you that this is what the Jewish did to the Europe, there's nothing to point out that exactly to point out and say this is what they did to the Europe. But one thing about Israel, they are always excel in every field and endeavor they touch. You are talking in technology, whatever it is. When you went to, if I'm not in the in 1930s, in 1920s or 18th century, you see the Israelite, whatever they touch, it's always excel. When you go to Europe in this time that I'm telling you now, the businesses in Europe, they are always there in business and in technology, a kind of, But one thing about the Israeli is this: they are always believing that we are the first son of God. Because when you're talking about the Bible, you're always talking about them. So they believe in that Bible so much that they are always carrying their Bible. They are always wearing differently for you to recognize this is a Jewish people. They are always wearing that black and white and their traditional wears. So for recognition, when you come to their business, they are excelling one way or the other in Europe in business, and they are part of the richest. They are one of the richest people in Europe in those days. As somebody who go outside to hustle, I'm going to use South Africa as an example. Nigerians are in South Africa right now. When you go to South Africa, there's no job. Nigerians will go down to the streets and begin to hustle, and they're going to make money on the street. I'm going to use myself as an example. When I was in South Africa, I went to the street. When I came to South Africa, I see, oh, there's no employment. I went to the street. I started to sell veg. By the time I sell veg for 2.5 years, I was able to buy a car. Meanwhile, a common South African man could not come to the street and do what I do. And that's where a lot of hatred. They begin to hate me. They're asking me, where do you make your money? Are you selling drugs? What? I've never seen drug in my life. This is what I do. As a foreigner, when you are in a foreign country, you are going to be serious, more serious than the citizen, because he believes that this is my own country. This is exactly what happened in Europe. In the centuries back. So after the World War, the Israel decided to come back home when they were killed and humiliated all over Europe. When they run from Germany to Ukraine, they are being killed. When they run from Ukraine to Russia, they are being killed. In France, they were just like, oh no, you know what? Let us go back home. Let us go back where we come from. So by the time Israel gets to Israel, when they arrive Israel, the Palestinian has always been there. They are brothers. Palestinian and Israel are brothers. Palestinian has always been at the other side, while the Israel are at this side. By the time Israel moved out of this country centuries back, listen, the Palestinian begin to occupy the space. The Palestinian begin to occupy the space. In 1940, around 1944, after the war, if I might getting it right, 1940 something, 1943, after the World War II, they came back and the space, there's no land. The Arab has taken all the spaces. So they barely get any land. So the few Jewish in this country. And I want you to understand that there were still Jewish in the country. It's not as if they just left, but the whole spaces has been taken over by the Palestinians. Now, what do? They use another tactic. Okay, they begin to buy the land from their hands. They begin to expand. They begin to tell the Jewish to come back home from all over the world. They begin to part. They begin to come back home. They begin to they begin to buy the lands, and they begin war. The conflict become like, oh, where are you from? Where are you guys from? You are from Europe. You are not a Jewish. No. All of you go back to Europe. You are not a European. Those that the old Jew, remember, there were Jewish that are left. The ancestors. I mean, the origin of the Jewish. I don't know how to explain this. Those that didn't left the country, that are still in the country, their DNA is not mixed. I want you to understand. So if you want to say the original Jewish, I will actually agree with that. Like, okay, this is the only Jewish we know. You people must go back to Europe. We don't know you. You are not a Jewish. Now they begin to cry. Look, We are Jewish. Our ancestors took us out of this country. And with this practice, and this is where we come from, they begin to fight war, the Palestinian war and the Jewish. They begin to get this into conflicts and into conflicts until 1967. Remember, they were colonized by the British. The British colonized Israel. Now, from one war to the other, and the United Nations now give a mandate that the Jewish should take their Jewish states and the Palestinians should take up their Palestinian states. What happened when they give Palestinians the certificate to become a Palestinian state and they give the Israelites the certificate to become a Jewish state? What happened? I'm going to tell you. I'll be back. Watch this video. This is an attack on the Jewish. For this past 5 days, there has been killing and killing in Israel. They have been attacking and shooting the jihadists. And remember, I'm going to tell you a story about the Palestinian. Not all Palestinians want to be in this problem forever. I'll be back.
שני מחבלים ירו בארבעה מכוחות הביטחון שלנו. בזירה יש לנו כרגע שניים שקבעו את מותם ועוד שניים שפונו לבית החולים בפציעות שונות. סך הכל יש לנו 4 פצועים מכוחות הביטחון.
ישבתי במרפסת וראיתי כבר את המחבל, ממש שמעתי את היריות ואז ראיתי אותו יורה בו, ראיתי את הבן אדם שרץ לפה נופל וישר פשוט רצתי פנימה והמשכתי לשמוע את היריות. ולאחר מכן פשוט נכנסתי הביתה, לא יכלתי להמשיך לצפות ברצף האירועים. אחרי זה יצאתי החוצה, אחרי שאמא שלי כבר נכנסה הביתה, ראינו את הגופות ולא יצאתי יותר למרפסת אחר כך.
Yeah, you're welcome. Welcome. Well, I'm trying to get into. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Oh yeah, we are back. I still have more about the 1967 when the United Nations there was a vote. Israeli did not just give themselves a Jewish state. The whole nation actually have to vote Israel and Palestine to get their state. A lot of countries voted Africa. You know, Africa now. It's only South Africa that agreed on that United Nations charter that Palestinians should have their state and also the Jewish should have their state. But the Palestinians refuse to get their state. Do you know why? You see, all this Arab that the Jewish have, trust me, the Arab country, their neighboring Arabs are the main problem that the Palestinians have today. I'm going to tell you the truth. They are always like, no, don't collect it. You see, in 1967, they are the ones who told them, don't take the certificate and have your state. Do you know why? We don't want the Jewish to stay side by side with you. We had to kill all of them. Stay. We are going to kill all of them and we are going to take over the whole country as an Arab state. This is the problem they have today. I'm going to tell you prompt and blank. I go a little bit deep into history. I stand to be corrected. Because when you see all these jihadists that is happening right now, who is supporting them? Who is behind it? Now they are neighboring, some of their neighbor. They are the one who is causing all this problem. Right there in Palestine, 70% of Palestinians do not want this problem anymore. I can start to be corrected. I mean, 70% of them, they are suffering there. Israel are ready to accommodate these people. Israel are shortage. They have shortage of people who are supposed to work in Israel right now as I talk to you. But how can they bring them in without having a problem? The last time I checked, they are bringing people from Jordan to come and work in Israel. Jordanists. They are bringing people from Jordan. Not all of them. Some of them just have peace. They come to Israel and work. Legitimately, they work and go home peacefully. And they make things difficult for themselves. They cannot get house in Israel. Nobody wants to rent a house for them to stay. When they finish to work, go home. Go back to where you come from. Just because of the bad egg among them. If you are not in Israel, whether you are a Muslim or a Christian watching me right now, Israel people are peaceful people. You see, some immigrants will tell you that, oh, because Israeli do not give me a document, so they are not good people. That is not how to judge people. They are process of getting document. If they don't want to give you, the country belongs to them. This is the only Jewish state they have. They told you, this is the only Jewish state in the world. And we have to protect it. Israeli giving foreigners citizenship. They do. But of course, they are not going to give every foreigner citizenship. Just like United States will not give every foreigner citizenship. As long as you follow the process and you earn it, they're going to give you. But the difference between Israel and United States is Israel is going to twist you. They are going to twist you before they give you to you. Because they are trying to protect the state. The country is too small. When you check on the map, you are going to see that Israel is too small. They are trying to protect their state. It's a religion state. It's not like United States. United States is not a religious state. Europe is not a religious state. Here is a religious state. There are people, there are laws that guided them. Apart from there are laws that guides them in religion. Like, We don't want these people to come and overthrow, to be more than the Jewish. If the Christians are here and more, all these things, this is not the government talking about it. The Orthodox are talking about it. Who are the owner of this country? The Orthodox. There was a time, last 2 years, they were debating of giving every foreigner's citizenship. Not every foreigners. Any foreigner who wants to become a Jewish, become a Jew, and we give you citizenship. They were debating in the house, but they said no, it can't work like that, because they are trying to protect their religion. Like, no, there's no other religion that is going to be here and overshadow us. So they are trying to protect their image. Now, to the Palestinian. The reason why the Israel will not give Palestinian state of Palestine is because they are troublemakers. I don't know why. Is it the Quran that they are reading? I don't know. I try to understand why the people who read Qurans, some of people who read Quran, I'm not going to say everybody. I try to understand why they are so much violent. Now, it have gotten to the state where Israel will not, this is my opinion. The Israel will never give them Palestinian states. And I'm going to tell you the reason why. The reason why is because giving them a Palestinian state is like giving someone a gun, giving them a knife and said, this is the knife and the gun, then you turn your back on that person. It's your enemy is going to stab you, is going to do anything on you. The country is too small. Remember in 1966, 67, they fight a war with the whole Arab. Those surrounding Arabs supported the Palestinian. It was only Israel among them. Nobody supported Israel. Israel went to France and said, please, France, can you please give us ammunition? We want to fight. The France refused to give Israel weapons to fight. Today, Israel is one of the countries in the world in weapon and technology. They sit down and went to Haganah. When you hear about story of Haganah, this is the story behind that name, Haganah. They say, okay, you know what? That means we are alone. We have to learn how to produce weapon on our own. Israel began to produce weapon. Today, Israel is selling guns. They have weapons to sell. They know everything. They teach for themselves. Even the United States is buying from them. Yes, the United States is buying. They are interbuying from each other. But what am I trying to say? This missiles, what they call it? There are some technology that Israel produce and the American will buy. Remember, Israel and America are one. What's prompt the Israelites to go into weaponry? It's because of war. Today, if you're talking about technology in war, I almost say they are number one, as far as I'm concerned. Now, I'm still talking about the Palestinians. Palestinians are suffering, but they refuse to agree that they are suffering. Many of them they are not working, they are hungry. As I speak to you, they get aid from Israel to Palestinians. I repeat myself, if you are not in this country, do not judge the Jewish. One thing about the Jewish is do not cross your boundary. You cross your boundary, they will crush you. That is just it. It's not about, oh my God, these people are attacking us. Oh, Jehovah, Lord God of Moses, come and help us. They don't do Lord of Moses when it comes to enemy. They crush you down. And that is the best way to crush enemy. There's no way to pamper things. They are not just going to Palestine to fight. Right now, Israel are always on defense side. I've been here for a while. As we talk now, they are always on defense side. They don't want to go and attack and start killing people. The propaganda you are going to see on TV that the Israelites are... Let me tell you something. For example, a young boy that I know I'm more powerful than will come, or maybe on the way. He spanked me. When he spanked me, people are going to smile, right? So probably people are just going to laugh over it, like, why is this boy spanking this man? But remember, if I spank that child, he's going to faint down straight. That boy will spank me, and sometimes even kick me in the balls. I will fall down and make like this, and make him kick me. When I try to stand up and give him a spank, when he fall on the floor and break his arm or even die, people will say, oh, you killed a small boy. Oh, you killed a small boy. That is exactly what is happening in Israel. If Israel is trying to defend themselves, they bring propaganda and say, oh, Israel are killing the Palestinians. Seriously, let me tell you the truth. I've been here for a while. As I talk to you, there is an Arab outside there. It's working. Israel is not just chasing Arab. Oh, go, we don't want you. They don't do this. There's Arab in this room there. There is Arab in outside living there. They are living in peace. Israel wants to live in peace with these people. But I don't know if the Quran, there's something inside the Quran that is always pushing some. These guys, they want to work peacefully. They don't have a problem. They go to work, they come back. Why don't the other people in Palestine do the same? Israel want it to be like, okay, let us be one. And let us do things and develop Palestine. Everybody will work and eat. Yes, they are tired in Palestine. 70% of Palestinians want to live in peace. But one thing, you dare not talk about it in Palestine. If you talk in Palestine that, oh, I want to live in peace, I don't want to fight, they will come and kill you. The jihadists will come and kill you. There are just few people who are controlling them. You talk anything good about Israel, even though Israel is giving them aid, giving them food, and even giving them electricity and water. If you dare talk good about Israel, you are a dead man. Those jihadists there are just watchful. Everybody wants to live in peace. Say, okay. Because if I were these people, seriously, I know it is hard. The religion is different. And it's different to judge, man. But if they could live in peace, because I don't see Israeli giving the Palestinian the state of Palestine. No. In fact, when I came to Israel, I began to understand everything. I say, no. Israel is not going to give these people Palestinian state. No, it's not possible. It's impossible. It's impossible. The moment Israeli give them Palestinian state, they are going to have their airport. They are going to have a sovereign nation. They are going to begin to produce weapons. They have always emphasized that Israel, they are going to clear Israel one day. You see, their neighboring ally, they promise them heaven and earth. They are the one who is funding the jihadists to attack Israel and say, oh, don't worry. One day is one day. One day is one day we are going to kill all Israeli and take off our state. And Israel are not sleeping. Majority of you may be watching outside the world. And you ask yourself, Israel is one of the best country in the world, as in you walk any time of the night, no armed robber attack you. Whether you are a lady, nobody lost. You don't. I don't think anybody will boldly come out and say, "Oh, somebody attacked me and steal my phone." I'm not sure. Maybe I'm not sure. Israel is peaceful, but it is not. Is that a mosquito? It is not peaceful. In terms of this terror attack, once a while, whenever there is any celebration or festival in Israel, they will always come for attack. Now the Passover is here. That's why they are doing this attack. You watch that video. I'm going to play another video for you before we continue. I'll be back in a moment. Let me play another video for you. I'll be back.
A deadly wave of violence has struck Israel. Another attack recently took place in the Orthodox A deadly wave of violence has struck Israel. Another attack recently took place. A deadly wave of violence has struck Israel. Another attack recently took place in the Orthodox Jewish neighborhood of Israel in the city of Tel Aviv. The attack presumably took place as a result of an offensive in the region of the West Bank. This is the fifth such attack in Israel in the last 2 weeks. Now, the Israeli Prime Minister Naftali Bennett has claimed the attacks are a murderous wave of Arab terrorism. In fact, joining me right now is Mr. Kobi Shoshani. He's the Israeli Consul General to India. Mr. Shoshani, good morning. Thank you for speaking to us. This is indeed a difficult time for your country. There has been a deadly wave of violence in the recent past. Now, this recent attack has taken place despite heightened security. What do you make of it?
First of all, it's a very sad night. Last night was a very sad night, not far from Tel Aviv, in a small city called Bnei Brak. And it continues after a few nights with terrorist attacks all over Israel. And I would like to send my condolences to the families, even it's from India, and I get a lot of support from the Indian audience in the Twitter and all the social media about it. And first of all, I would like to send my condolences. You're absolutely right. To fight against terrorism, it's not an easy task. Sometimes you pay a price, but we are not going to give up, never. Like India, for many, many years, I think that we are suffering from terrorist and terror attacks. We paid price for it. I was here in 2008 after the terror attack in 26/11, and I remember the days here. It's not an easy days in Tel Aviv, but I can assure to you one thing. We will find the organizer. Of course, the terrorist has been killed, but we will find the organizer very quickly. Because to fight against terrorism, we should do it without hesitation.
Oh, yes, absolutely. The fight against terrorism is difficult, to say the least. And, in this particular case, we have been seeing these lone wolf kind of attacks. But the IS, of course, has claimed responsibility for this. Now, is the Islamic State's growing footprint in Israel, a grave concern?
It's a good question right now. All the security forces, I spoke last night with one of them, to ask what is the result. It's a very minor, and I have to say something which is very good at this moment, optimistic, let's say, that most of the Arab population in Israel against this ISIS, against this organization, they denounce the attacks and they are
This. Now, is the Islamic State's growing footprint in Israel? A deadly wave of violence has struck Israel. Another attack recently took place in the Orthodox Jewish neighborhood of Israel in the city of Tel Aviv. The attack presumably took place as a result of an offensive in the region of the West Bank. This is the fifth such attack in Israel in the last 2 weeks. Now, the Israeli
Prime to say something which is very good at this moment, optimistic, let's say, that most of the Arab population in Israel against this ISIS, against the attacks and
I'm having a yes. Yeah, we're having a. I just wanna. I'm trying to. I'm trying to connect back because thank you for watching. I'm still here. I'm still gonna tell you a story before I show you the victim of the Palestinian and the Arab. You know, who is calling? It's kind of difficult for. It's kind of difficult. Israeli are peaceful people. Sometimes you could be in the car or in the bus. I mean, in the bus, they will attack. You could be on the street. Just take out your knife and begin to kill. Let me tell you something. There's 2 months may never pass by without an Arab people, or one is in a while. You see an Arab stabbing a police officer or stabbing a citizen. It's difficult. This thing is difficult. It's beyond my imagination. Uh, many Arab are tired. They want to become. They want to have their peace and live their life. A lot of them, they they are suffering. They just want to belong and live their life. Come to Israel, work. If you're working in, there are majority of them are working in Israel. Yes, they are working here too. They come to work and they go back home. Some of them, when you see them, you cannot differentiate who is Israel and who is Arab. Okay, let me show you the picture of some of the victims, and there's an Arab guy. Let me show you one of the Arab guy who was shot too. He's an Arab police officer. Let me show you. Mm, okay. Uh, Some of these pictures I show you is sadden my heart to see. I showed you about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pictures. These are just few among the people who are victim. I think Ukrainian. I think a Russian or Ukraine was one of those who was killed in Benny Brak. Benny Brak is just where I work. I never knew that such was happening in that day. I don't even know what is happening, So it saddened my heart. Okay, before Israel, they are Israeli Arabs. Oh, my. Who people have this? They are Israeli Arabs. You have to understand that we have Israel. They are Christian among them and they are Muslim among them. They have mosque. And now, some of them, like the guy I show you with a Muslims, is Israel want to make peace completely, but it's kind of hard for them because these people mind. You understand? If they are like Christians, a friend of mine, a Jewish, he told me if the Arab were like you Christians, we wouldn't have any problem. Everything would have solved out. But these people, as he was speaking to me that day, there was an Arab guy in front of me. He asked the guy, Africa, tell him about what you think about me. He said, I will kill you when I get the state of Israel. When I get the state, when I want to kill you. He said it is not joking. They were working together. Like he's working. He worked with us. That day we were driving. So there was another car he was working with. And he said, ask this guy. This guy's an Arab guy. He don't like me. Jokingly, they were joking. They were not fighting anyway. He said, yes, I want to get the state and I will kill you. I just want to take my country back. It's not a joke. So this thing is kind of difficult, but they have, can I call it a brainwash? I don't know, because there are people always, they just give them that assurance that one day they're going to wipe out the all Israel. But Israel is getting stronger. Live and let live. Israel want to live. People will say, oh, Israel is taking the land of Palestine. They are taking land. Let me explain to you how these things works. It is in the United Nations Charter. Me, as Solomon Okereke now, this is my portion. This is my portion of land, and this is your portion of land. If you are attacking me and making me uncomfortable, and we begin to fight, if I weigh you down to that place, I'm taking over that place because you are a threat to me. I shift you back. This is how it works. Let's leave those propaganda. Israel does not just wake up one day and start going to take the land. It doesn't work like that. They are working closer. The more Israel is coming, they are attacking. When you are attacking, you say, this is you and this is you. That is why they make the fence. People that are making propaganda, go and see the fence that they make. They make a very big fence and say, okay, you know what? You stay here, I stay here. But people are still complaining about the fence. When you go to Jerusalem, they are living side by side. Just that the few among them will not let peace reign. When you go to Jerusalem, you see innocent Jews walking down the street. They never know when they are going to die from the jihadists. Everybody's just walking like a dead man walking. Let us tell ourselves the truth. If this attack was not there, maybe they would have given them the state. Let's tell ourselves the truth. Let the truth be told. They keep living like they are living in another foreign land, in their own. Where are we going with all these things? Israel are ready. Me, I've been deep into these people. If I was not in this country, I would always believe that they are maltreating these people. But I'm telling you today, Solomon Okereke is saying it here. Israel is funding them there. They are not going to tell you. They are giving them aids there. They give them electricity and water. They are not paying for water. One day, make Israel cut off the water. You are going to see them coming to cry, but they are not paying for water. They are not paying for electricity. What are you talking about? For those who don't know Israel, you always cry. Israel is doing this, they are Palestine. I agree with you. Everybody needs freedom. Everybody needs freedom. When they gave you the freedom in 1947, what did you say? It is there in the book. It is there in the archive. That no, I'm not going to take this freedom. I want the whole country. So are you telling me that the Bible is lying? Are you telling me that the Torah is lying, that there's nothing like a Jewish or Israeli in this place? Okay, fine. If you are so peaceful, as you say, you're claiming that your religion is so peaceful, then what is happening in Nigeria now? Who are those killing in Nigeria? Let us start to reason. Everybody's crying. You are fighting for God. You want to go to heaven. What if there's no heaven? Are you ever sit down and think one day and say that, what about the animal you're killing? The animal you're killing, they have blood on their vein. And they are thinking. I'm going to tell you a little story. At the place I eat my lunch every afternoon, I eat with the birds, animal. When one bird arrives, when I throw the rice on the floor, one bird will come, it will test the rice, it will eat 1, 2, and it will fly back and bring the rest of that bird. I'm repeating myself. We humans, we are so selfish. The animals are far better than us. I said every morning on my lunch hour, I sit at that garden. I throw the rice. The birds know. Once the birds see me, they come around me. They are not coming close to me, but they will you just see them flying down. They know I'm there. They know I'm going to give them food. Once one bird is there, you will eat that food and test it that, oh, food is here. That bird will fly. When he's coming back, he's coming with his colleagues and friends and say, oh, that young man is there. Oh. I don't know what they will call me in their language. They come to eat. What about us, human beings? You want to eat alone? It's me, 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 me. Nobody fight for God. God fight for you. Some of us, we say, oh, I'm serving God. You don't serve God. Nobody serves God. God serves us. Do you have what it takes to serve God? Who have what it takes to serve God? Nobody who have what it takes to serve God. God serves you. If you've never had that in your church today, hear it. God serves us. You are sleeping. God is serving you. He's not sleeping. He's watching over you. You are on the road. You are walking. You are driving. God is watching over you. That means God is serving you. The only thing you can do is just praise him. Also, thank you for all you've done. It is wrong to say that you're serving God. Do you have what it takes to serve God? Can you save God from anything? If you are a jihadist and you say you are fighting for God, you are making a mistake. Have you ever seen God before? God is the sky. You will never see God. What if there's no God? What if there is no God? What if there's no heaven? Why are we doing this? Have you ever think and say so? It's not a sin for me to say I don't think there's heaven. Many people religion have eaten up their mind. Say, oh, it is sin. It is a sin for you to say there is no heaven. What about the books? What are you talking about? It is my right. Even God knows it's my right to say, the way I'm seeing things, so God. Oh, the way I'm seeing things, I don't think, because nobody ever went to heaven and come back. Oh, maybe if I'm dead, I'm dead. What if? That does not make God to derive me from going to heaven if I'm worth it. It is my thinking. I just think like, okay, maybe if there's no, yes, if there's no, if there's no, if there's yes, there is. People will say, don't question God. Are you dreaming? Yeah, you cannot question God and answer and get the answer. It is not a sin for me to say, God, do you really exist? Show me that you exist. My prayer answers. A lot of people, their prayer is not answering. A lot of people, they prayed and their prayer is not answering. Me, I'm convinced that there's a power that controls this world. When I pray, my prayer is answered. So in my own case, I say, okay, definitely whatever I take my time to ask the Creator, it's come to pass. When I take my time and say, oh God, I don't call God when I'm praying. I can be preaching to you and say, God, his name is not even God. Nobody knows his name. Where can I go sit down somewhere? Which God? The Creator is the best name to be given to that, the Creator of this heaven and earth. Creator, because he's the Creator. What's the meaning of God? It is our own words. Our own words. Can we just live in peace? Can't we just live in peace? Chop, make I chop. The Bible itself is about way of life. That Quran supposed to be a way of life, how to live with your other person. You're forcing me to become a Muslim. What is this? You don't force me to become what I don't want to do. Even the book itself says, don't force anybody. Why should somebody in a human flesh come and tell you that I'm not what you think I am because I'm not a Muslim or a Christian or a Jewish? Something is wrong somewhere. Something is wrong somewhere. Look at the world today. When you check all around, all those people reading Quran, I'm not saying all of you guys reading Quran. The Quran readers are our problem. Let us face the truth. Me as a Christian, you can call Jesus all names. I don't care. Jesus can fight for himself. Call Muhammad now. They will begin to fight you. But Muhammad bone is there where he's buried as a human. Who are you to fight for God? Who are you to fight? Nobody is worth fighting for God. Nobody is worth fighting for the Creator. We are just busy killing ourselves for nothing. Somebody's walking down the street, you take a knife and kill. Somebody that don't even know anything about the Jewish state. Somebody that does not know anything about the Palestinian state. You walk down the street, you take a knife, you take a gun, you begin to kill everybody. You want to make a statement. And then you go back to Palestinian and you hug yourself and be happy that you killed somebody. Look at these people. Who is preaching for you? What Quran are you reading? What is the Quran you're reading? What is the Bible? What Bible are you reading? Just a few elements in Palestinian that is causing all these things. If not that the world is just looking. Israel is supposed to wipe all this. Go in, enter there, go wipe all those idiots. Come on there. I'm not saying they should go there and wipe the innocent people. I'm talking about those jihadists. Wipe them off because 70% of the Palestinians want peace. They can live under Israel and still maintain their own economy. Don't you know that? They don't know, they don't get sense. You can run your economy without Israel. You are just going to be neighbor, but under the same state. It's possible. Is New York and California running the same economy? No. New York is handling their own economy. They have their own police as New York police. In California, their police is Californian police. As a Palestinian, you can be Palestinian police. Still running under Jewish. But you are going to run your things the way you want it. People will not get sense. That is what we want them to do in Nigeria. They don't want to do it. Let us all run our economy in different states. And everybody will enjoy. I have the right. We understand each other's language. In peace I come. Good afternoon, guys. I think I went too far. Let me read your comment for the few of you who are here. Let me just read your comment, guys. It has been a day. Anyway, this is just my... somebody said there's no voice again. Somebody said there's no voice. Are you meaning? Can you hear me now? Oh, my. Are you serious that there was no voice? Okay, somebody said the voice is back. 490. What was that? Okay. Sorry for the voice. You can hear me now, right? Somebody said, Fred Luna said there's no heaven, bro. That is your own opinion. You understand? It's based on everybody's opinion. I cannot stand here and tell you, say, oh, you're stupid because you say there's no heaven. No. You are reasoning, you're thinking. Sometimes I sit down and think and say, is there really heaven? Then if there's heaven, why are we killing these animals? Where is the soul of the animal going? Are we not killing animals? Animals with blood. What is the difference between me and that goat that you're eating? The most healthiest food in the world is the veg, and that is what the goat is eating. Do you actually know that? Goat is eating the healthiest food. When you're eating all this junk food, you think you're eating the healthiest food? You're killing yourself. If you give goat all the grasses and the veg, you are going to see the goats shining. So it is what it is, guys. Thank you very much for watching, but we need peace. Yeah, you don't believe in heaven. Fred, it's up to you, my brother. You don't believe in heaven. This is what it is. Me, I'm not here to argue, but the only thing I normally like to argue is when somebody says the Bible itself does oh my, who be this now? I'm doing program. You're supposed to check if I'm doing program. Please hold on. Supposed to check if I'm doing program. Oh. Hello? Yeah. Oh, Akbar. Yeah. That you should bring what? What's that? What is that? What do you mean by that? They are, for what? Please hold on. Hold on. Hold on.
שני מחבלים ירו בארבעה מכוחות הביטחון שלנו. בזירה יש לנו כרגע שניים שקבעו את מותם ועוד שניים שפונו לבית החולים בפציעות שונות. סך הכל יש לנו 4 פצועים מכוחות הביטחון.
ישבתי במרפסת וראיתי כבר את המחבל, ממש שמעתי את היריות, ואז ראיתי אותו יורה בו, ראיתי את הבן אדם שרץ לפה נופל, וישר פשוט רצתי פנימה והמשכתי לשמוע את היריות. ולאחר מכן פשוט נכנסתי הביתה, לא יכלתי להמשיך לצפות ברצף האירועים. אחרי זה יצאתי החוצה, אחרי שאמא שלי כבר נכנסה הביתה, ראינו את הגופות ולא יצאתי יותר למרפסת אחר כך.